Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for another card making tutorial, and this week we're going to feature the Rainbow of Happiness bundle, a photopolymer stamp set with coordinating dies. What are these called? Brilliant Rainbow. So this is a bundle that is available to you in the January to June 2022 mini catalogue. So that will obviously that does retire in June. The last sales date on that is going to be the 30th of June, so that's when these products stick around. Because we've already got the annual catalogue, we already know that this set's not carrying over, so this one is definitely going to be retiring. Okay, so I thought I'd utilise the new colours with this. Looks really cool. Nice sort of fresh, bright colour. So this is what well, this is a starting point on what we're going to make today. Just going to change it up a little bit. Okie dokie, so let's get our rainbow stamped then. So like I say, these are the new in colours for 2022. I have shown you them before, just in case you've missed them. We've got Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky. So those are our lovely rainbow of colours that we've got to play with. So we're actually using all 5 colours. Okay, so we can get those out. If I just lay them in front of me, and this is the order we're going to be using them in anyway, sort of in rainbow order, in that we've got red, green, blue, and then a sort of purple colour with the Orchid Oasis. So they're all ready to go, and we're just going to get our rainbow done on this nice scrap piece of paper, or cardstock I should say. It's just basic white cardstock. So fresh new ink pads means nice, they're really nice and juicy, so they'll stamp beautifully and easily. Okay, so that's our Sweet Sorbet colour in the largest arc there. Now of course you can do your rainbow in whatever colours you like, and if you want to go for something a little bit more traditional from the core colour families, then you can. That large arc, by the way, was on an E block, and actually they go down nicely in size. So this is Parakeet Party and a D block. So the beauty of photopolymer is that we can hover over our previous arc there. I usually look for where the photopolymer edge sort of sits, and it's going to be roughly there. And if it's not quite right, you know what, it doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, so we'll go down again. This is a B block, no, C block, sorry. Okay, and this is Tahitian Tide, really lovely sort of turquoisey blue. Again, just lining that up, hovering where I think I want it to go, and when I'm sure, pressing that down. Just cleaning off the stamps as I go on my stamp chamois, which is just off to my left. And the last one is a bit on a B block, and this is with Orchid Oasis. And we'll just pop that in there. There we go. Nice and straightforward. And then just to finish off, I've got another strip here, and I'm going to get Starry Sky for the sentiment. Okay, beautiful. So that's our stamped elements. We don't need any more ink, so we are going to get those put away before there's a mishap. So the Stampin' Up ink pads are designed so that when they are sat closed, the ink pad is at the top facing down, so the ink stays to the top, so they're already always ready to go. Okay, so there they are. They will stack up nicely as well. They've been designed to do that with these little little dimples that you have in the ink pads. And there we go, they stack beautifully. And if you've got the Stampin' Up storage, even better, which is what I have. So I'm going to use a new set of dies from the annual catalogue to cut the sentiment. This is one of our stylish shapes. The stylish shapes are stitched, just bringing that closer to me so I can see that it's lined up well enough. Okay, circles and squares, and those lovely cute banners. The rainbow we've just stamped is going to be freehand cut, so I'm just going to take off this excess. We'll save that little bit for something else. And this is a nice easy shape to just run around, not complicated to cut out, so we can just do that. Reasonably straightforward. You could just you know, put this onto a die cut, or even just a square of card that suits the design if you didn't want to fussy cut this out. But I just thought it'd be nice to have that raised up. And we can do the same in the middle. Go around, and again that's optional. I mean, if you didn't fancy cutting out the whole of it, you don't necessarily have to. Just slipped with the scissors a little bit there, but that's fine. It's going to be fine. There we go. And again, if your edges have come out a little bit wonky, now these haven't done too badly, maybe that one's a little bit, it's not going to matter a whole heap anyway, because of the design we're going to be covering up the bottom here anyway, so I'm not really being particularly careful about cutting those off. So that is our rainbow. Already die cut a bunch of the little clouds using these two dies, so I did these two twice to get a selection of little clouds there. Okay, so we'll just get our sentiment die cut. So my cutting emboss is always set up on the desk, but the stylish shapes that I'm using for this fit the mini, so the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So if you haven't got the space for the big one, or don't need or want a big one, then you can get the mini one and still be able to use this set of dies. There we go, you make me happy. Now these dies will actually cut the stitching into the negative as well, so if you wanted a feature of an aperture, particularly with the circles and squares, that has a stitched element, these would be brilliant too. So that's those. And then finally, I've already cut this little bit. Now this was just a strip of scrap cardstock, and I've used this die to do that. Now this die doesn't have a cutting edge along the straight edge here, it only cuts along the wavy edge, which is how I achieved this border on here. So on the cardstock layer that I had cut already, I just lined it up with the edge as straight as possible and as even as possible to get a decorative edge on that card layer. Okay, so that's something else you can do too. Now this one's just been cut on a scrap is what that should have said. So I can cut it down and add it as a feature onto the card. So this time around, we're just going to build the card straight onto the card front. So I'm going to make sure that that's really well creased, so it's sitting nice and flat for me. And bring in some dimensionals. So we've got the mini ones, we've got the large ones, you've got scraps and things that we can use. So I might use some of these scrap bits actually. Perfect for this kind of thing. There we go, probably don't need all of that, so let's just Save that bit for something else. Okay, so we'll put this into place and then we'll build up the rest of the elements around it. Okay, we'll get that as central, or just above centre, isn't it? Central sort of left to right, and then just above centre for the other elements. And say this, I want the sentiment to sit over this nice little decorative piece, so we probably want to trim that down a little bit. So I'm going to take off a little bit there. Okay, just like that. And you might just want to just make sure that that's rounded, so it doesn't look like it just comes to a sharp closure. So I'm going to put a little bit of multi-purpose glue on the bottom edge of this. So 2 reasons for only using a little bit. It means, one, well, it will give me lots of wriggle room, and will dry nice and quickly. So that is pretty much perfect in terms of I can get that lined up. I'm just going to take off that little bit there. Okay, and then I can take off this bit to match and cut away that little bit of excess as well. So it's just going to nip that away, and no one will ever know it was there. Okay, and it doesn't matter if it looks untidy on the back, because once we stick it down, no one will ever know. Okay, going to have some dimensionals on this as well. So I'm just going to place a couple of the larger ones there. So it's going to sit something like that. Okay, but before we want to stick that down, I just want to put the clouds into place. Alright, so there's basically 2 of everything. Okay, like that. Okay, so again, some dabs of glue on the bottom of the rainbow portion here, which means we can just place these either side, like so. Then I'm going to take one of this one. Doesn't matter if they're a bit wibbly or anything, because clouds aren't perfect shapes, are they? So, okay, so you can make those overlap each other or not, as the case may be, to suit you. A little splash of red ink on that one, so I'm just tucking that underneath. And then we can see how that looks. Beautiful. Then these last couple, I'm going to use mini dimensionals to put those in place, kind of underneath here, so they're going to sit either side of the sentiment, if you know what I mean. Okay, so they're going to poke out here and here. Okay. Just get those back ends off. I'm sort of swapping them around, so this shape I put here, so I'm going to put this one on this side, somewhere around here, and then vice versa. Put this one over here, something like that, and then we can pop this in place. Okay, just going to use a little bit of multi-purpose on the back of there, just to make sure it gets it ends up in the right place. And then a little bit on the flat of that card stock there will just help it make contact with the other pieces. So you just want to sort of position that where it's going to make contact with the card. Just don't want that that dimensional catching on this cloud here, so I just want to make sure it's in the position I want it. Okay, so just putting that little bit of multi-purpose adhesive on there just helps you give it just a little bit of wriggle room so that we can get the sorry if you saw the top of my head then. I was just trying to get that into the place where I wanted it. There we go. Cool. I just realised that this could probably benefit from a little bit of Wink of Stella on those cards. What's this called? Clouds. This is almost run out, which means there isn't a load of glitter on this one in this pen. Just a little bit, just to give it a bit of a twinkle. It's not a lot, but it's there. Now you could add some iridescent rhinestones or something like that to that if you wanted to. But I'm not going to add any rhinestones or anything to mine today. I'm going to keep it really nice and simple. I like this layout. I like the little bit at the bottom. I like that. Felt like the things at the side were a little bit much, but obviously, you know, if you prefer that, then go ahead and do it. But I hope that's you found that useful, and that you'll have a go at using the Rainbow of Happiness bundle. So that's it from me today. Thank you very much for joining me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Bye.